Today we continue talking about the liver and gallbladder, in particular the issue of fat processing or processing fat. Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Minke. This is Minke Wellness. And processing fat is very important in our diet, but it's also important in basic physiological functions. So let's talk about both of those. The liver, as we might have mentioned, produces cholesterol. Okay, so you don't have to eat any cholesterol in your diet. The liver will produce its own. So you're like, well, wait a minute, I thought cholesterol was bad. No. We need cholesterol. Cholesterol is a sterol that is absolutely essential in formation of the cell membranes, the phospholipid bilayer. It's important in production of your steroid hormones, your estrogen, progesterone, a lot of your steroid hormones that the adrenal gland produces. So it's extremely important that the liver produce cholesterol, but not just produce it, it has to deliver that cholesterol out into the bloodstream so that it can get to the target organs where it's used, okay? Obviously, if we eat cholesterol, then the body doesn't have to produce as much, but there's actually not necessarily a correlation between eating more cholesterol and having your liver produce less. So, in other words, we definitely need to watch out for cholesterol. But a lot of the, research starts to get confusing. They say, wait a minute, we've been lowering cholesterol for 20, 30 years and we still don't see a decrease in heart disease. So some of the reason for that is, I'm not saying I have the answer for everything about heart disease by any stretch, but the one of the things that needs to be considered is sticky cholesterol or oxidized cholesterol. So I'm really not going to get into all of that, except just to say from a healthy perspective, we really need good quality fat, good quality cholesterol. We need to make sure that our cholesterol is not oxidized. In other words, that we protect our cholesterol from oxidation. And so we want a healthy liver. It really comes down to just basic wellness. We need a healthy liver. We need a good, healthy liver that's functioning correctly. So what the liver's doing is producing cholesterol and then dumping or delivering that cholesterol into the bloodstream. But see, cholesterol won't go in the bloodstream because it's fat soluble. So, oil and water don't mix. So the fat soluble and the water soluble don't go together. So what it has to do is combine it with a protein. And so we get what we call a lipoprotein, okay? And the lipoprotein is something that will help carry the cholesterol through the bloodstream. And so this is what we call LDLs, low density lipoproteins, or HDLs, high density lipoproteins. And so this is the function of the liver, is to produce these lipoprotein and cholesterol, all that go together to get that delivered into the bloodstream, and that's done through the bile. So that gets dumped into the small intestine, and all those things get processed out and delivered out to the absorbed back into the bloodstream and then delivered to the tissues. So the bile of the liver is very important. The chemistry of the bile is part of that whole function. And there's another, so as we talk about bile, there's another function of the bile, and that is to alkalize the stomach chyme that comes, the chyme or the stomach acid plus all the enzymes in food that is in the stomach. It gets put into the duodenum and it's very acidic, right? The stomach acid the hydrochloric acid is very acidic. And it will, it can damage the small intestine if it doesn't get alkalized. And so one of the functions of the bile is to alkalize that chyme that's coming out of the stomach, and then of course once it does that, we're also mixing it with the material from the liver, and then also enzymes from the pancreas all get mixed into that to complete digestion. And then as it gets pushed on down the tube, the small intestine, going from the duodenum to the jejunum and ileum, we're getting more and more absorption. So it's got, I think, 18 feet of absorption in the small intestine. Maybe it's as much as 20. I can't remember the number. Okay, so that's the basic kind of lay of the land. Now, as we kind of talk about being more aware and use our consciousness, and I like to do some breathing and stuff and use some imagery to make a connection to that. We also have a supplement that can help with this, and that's this JuvaPower supplement that Young Living has, which is a fiber-based supplement that, in my experience, seems to do a help with this whole alkalization of the bile. And get the bile production where it needs to be to help alkalize the liver. So if the liver is too acidic, then it can't do its job to protect the small intestine from that acid coming from the stomach. So a spoonful of this seems to be helpful. It is a powder. It's a powder supplement, so it ends up being one of those, gritty fiber supplements that people don't like to take. I actually, because of the phenyl and anise in here, peppermint and phenyl and anise, I actually kind of like the taste of it. It tastes very pleasant to me. If I mix it with a little bit of rice milk or almond milk, then it seems to go down pretty well, and it mixes in, and it's pretty mild. I mean, it does have, gritty. It's one of those gritty fiber drink things. But I don't drink it with very much. I don't put very much volume, so I can just down it and get it on. You can get it down however you like to. Some people ask if, can I put it in a capsule? Yeah, sure, you can put it in a capsule. A little tedious to, sit there and spoon a spoonful of this stuff into 5 capsules, but, for certainly a doable method of delivery. It might not, since it's all going through the stomach, it's probably all going to hydrate fine in the stomach anyway. So now let's do a little bit of breathing. I just want to make a connection to that function of the liver that is involved in getting the cholesterol and the lipoproteins, all of that, and the bile and the gallbladder, right? So we've got all these things. Now we did the massage. Go back and look at the video for self-massage. We did the self-massage for the liver and the gallbladder, so that might help a little bit. So we can come back and just do a little bit of that while we prepare for our breathing. Now remember, the diaphragm breathing physically or structurally massages the liver by pushing down. So as the diaphragm contracts and pushes down against the liver, we're actually getting a massage. So I can do a little bit of massage with my hands, and then also some massage with my diaphragm to make that connection, physical connection to the liver. Okay, so just doing that same massage we've talked about already. And then as I start to breathe in, I'm going to breathe into the liver gallbladder connection here. So here's this whole liver, very big liver, but then only just this little gallbladder sac that hangs out down in here. And so I'll connect to the liver, which again, that liver goes all the way across the midline, all the way down to the around to the back even of the rib cage. So it's very large, and so I want to make sure I kind of and I use my hands to touch around the rib cage, the lower ends of this rib cage, to feel all those the whole location. And so again, I'm just breathing in, and I'm just breathing vitality and gratitude and sparkle, engaging my mind and my brain and my spiritual part of my being to engage in the physical. Okay, so that's kind of how I view the therapeutic breath system. So breathing into the liver as an organ, and then I'm going to come into the gallbladder and be a little more specific and find that. And, if you don't have a gallbladder, this seems like so many people have had their gallbladders removed. If you don't have a gallbladder, then you can breathe into that spot and ask for healing of that area. There's probably there is definitely going to be scar tissue. When they cut through something, there's going to be scar tissue. So you could go and find that and use your breathing to engage in stretching the scar tissue, because the diaphragm can be used then to stretch that scar tissue and maybe get some release of the liver. If you've had your gallbladder removed, I guarantee you're going to need to do visceral help on your liver, whether you get that professionally done in visceral massage work, or you do this massage that we've talked about already and feel that organ moving, feel the movement, see if you can invite that movement. Very important, very subtle, but very important and soothing and helpful for the wellness of the liver to have those movements as the organ is supposed to be rocking and rolling. So I'm going to come back to the gallbladder again. And your gallbladder might not be all that happy with you. So as we make that connection and we do the little massage, it can actually, part can be painful, and bringing our awareness to it can be unpleasant. So we need to be brave and willing to get into areas that are not happy with us and are not pleasant and might even bring up pain and discomfort. But we need to be willing to breathe into those and acknowledge that, because just ignoring it isn't making it better. But bringing our consciousness while it raises the awareness, then we could use a few breaths to siphon off pain, which I think that it's worth talking about. Let me just go through that real quick, but I would breathe in. If something really hurt, I would use an exhale to let the pain wash through, and then breathe in, sparkle, and soothing. And again, I might use an image of a pond water, and the pain is of course these waves and wind and all kinds of chaos. And then, you know, I would breathe in that calm, kind of like Jesus with the calming the waters, and see that calm down, and that's the pain that we're representing. So you can use an image like that to help with calming pain, and a lot of times that can be at least momentarily helpful. Okay, so go back to the gallbladder. So we're breathing in, but we haven't really done any action breaths. So let me breathe in to the action breath and feel the sparkle come in to all the little ducts of the liver and into the gallbladder, down the bile duct, and then that flow of bile. We really want to open up that flow of bile, and we can invite, if we've taken our JuvaPower, we can invite that to help with the smooth flow of the bile and the nice alkalinity and the sparkle and the little scrubby bubbles that come in through the bile and to clean up the small intestine. Okay, but again, we're kind of really breathing and inviting the bile to flow through the liver and flow into the small intestine. And that's juice, you know, a lot of juice. So when we pull that water, I mean, so we go back to the lymphatic breathing if you need to, back to the second month. And we're going to pull and invite with that inhale. We're going to pull that fluid through, just like we did with the pancreas, pull that fluid through the liver and have it come in, inviting that to come in and flow into the small intestine. And we'll bring it with a sparkle and gratitude. And actually, my whole gallbladder feels better. I mean, literally, I'm touching the same area that was giving me some discomfort, and now it is much less. So a lot of times, just this some consciousness and some engagement can really get something going, get it flowing. And there's not, I mean, the liver has to keep flowing. All the organs have to have good circulation and flowing. You just can't stop any process in the body and expect to be healthy. We want all these processes to keep going and flowing. And so the liver this is a great breath series to do at any time, just to imagine the liver flowing and flushing. Now, if you're really, really jammed up, the liver's really clogged and toxic, and you're considering doing a liver cleanse, this is a great breath to do during that liver cleanse when you're working on flushing out all that stuff. If you do this breath and you've been doing the massage with the oils and all kinds of stuff, it can eventually create a detox flush reaction, which can be a little unpleasant. It would mimic a gallbladder attack, which might be, you know, some chest discomfort, breathing discomfort. Just really, I've had a gallbladder attack before when I ate too many wolfberry cookies. This is way back when Young Living had wolfberry cookies. They don't have them anymore. But I ate a whole package of them all at once because I thought they were really yummy. It's just that this product was a really good cleansing product, and it caused my whole gallbladder to contract. And it was really, really uncomfortable. I had to crawl back into the house, but I slathered with the soothing peppermint and doing massage, and slathering with peppermint and digize, and then just put a hot wet towel on there, just again to have that soothing, relaxing effect of the heat and the wet, and got through that part. Okay, so back to just a couple breaths before we end our video here, and again, of really inviting the flow of the liver and the fluid to move through the liver with the inhale, and the inhale pulling that fluid through the liver. Now we're probably gonna need to go drink some water, because anytime you pull fluid through an organ, you're gonna need to drink some extra water. And I think you'll find this to be true as we go into next month and talk about the kidneys, for example, and the bowel, which is really gonna be important in our water balance, and retaining water or reclaiming water, or getting enough water to flush through. But in the liver, same thing. It's a quart of bile every day that the liver is flushing through, so we need to do that. Okay, so paying attention to our liver today, our gallbladder, and reminding about the JuvaPower product. Great product to combine with this kind of breathing to help us keep the flow going in the liver. Okay, happy wellness. We'll see you tomorrow.